Day six. We're here. This is day six, and the reason why day six is called my transition period. I'm sorry. This is LaSherry America's 7-day atonement. This is my spiritual atonement. I had some things that I had been holding in for 28, 29 years, and I believe that we can create inner peace through self-reflection. And I also believe that we can sustain relationships, any type of relationship, through open communication. And I feel like it's time for us to build better communities, and that's through collective culture, collective economics, and collective agriculture. And that's just something that I stand for, man. It's time to rebuild the family. The family is what's messing up American culture, if you ask me. But we can talk about that later. This is day 6 of Confessions of a Child's self-reflection series. Again, I'm not a child anymore at this point, day 6, but it's still a self-reflection series. So I kind of reflect on my own thoughts and what I did, and the things that happened to me, and what I could do better, and how could I get better at it. And everybody got issues, everybody got problems, everybody got family secrets, everybody. But it's all in how you deal with it, and how you get past it, and how you come past it. So day 6 starts off, again, I believe that we could create inner peace through self-reflection. I believe that we can sustain relationships, any type of relationship. I believe that we could sustain relationships through open communication. My parents, all 3 of my parents have been communicating with me openly since day 1. They always communicated open with me. They always told me exactly what it was. It might not have been in the way that I wanted it, but it was the truth. It was exactly what it was. They communicated with me. They showed me how to communicate. I watched my families communicate with each other, even if it was an argument, and then back to being cool. I watched, a lot of different families, a lot of cultures that I grew up in, just being from Miami. I watched that social interaction and how to deal with each other or with other people through watching them. Like I say, y'all, it takes a village to raise a child. And I think this is day 6, man. So day 6 is my transition period. I call it the transition period because I moved twice, but I like to call it, and say 3 times. I lived in 3 different places. So I guess I want to just jump right into it. I ended day 4 with, it all coming down with, a friend of mine passing away, that I was in a band with. And, that's how we gonna start day 6. So after my friend passed away, I knew that my friend passing away would lead to a criminal investigation or some sort of an investigation, because I just knew it. And I remember that night at the hotel, I just prayed. I wasn't guilty. I didn't feel guilty or feel any guilt. I guess I did to a certain extent, but I remember just praying, man. I remember praying because I couldn't believe that my friend, 1, had lost his life. And then 2, I wasn't sure how he lost his life. I wasn't sure if it was through a particular hazing incident. I wasn't sure if something happened. I wasn't sure. And so I remember just praying. A week before his death, we had a conversation, me and my friend, and he said, America, should I do it? And I said, listen, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. If you want I wouldn't do it again. Just personally, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it again. But I understand the type of pressure that you under, and I know that it's a lot of pressure on you to be respected amongst your peers. And so I was like, I get it. I know why you want to do it, because that's the same reason why I did it. I wanted to be respected amongst the guys, or amongst the community of percussion guys that I was trying to impress. You know what I'm saying? Again, just looking for that acceptance, looking to be a part of something greater than myself. That's the whole point. I only wanted to be a part of something greater than myself. And so I just want to say, like, you know, I feel as though, you know, day 6, like I say, it's my transition period. I call it the transition period because I moved 3 times, or I lived 3 different places. So after my friend passed away, I moved to Atlanta with my mom, moved to Atlanta with my immediate family, and I started to live and do things, and just kind of started to just get myself back on track. I don't even know how, but some type of way, the courts felt as though they should charge me in the death of my brother. And even though they charged me along with 12 other individuals, I couldn't understand why they charged me, because I knew I don't participate. I never said I wasn't there, but I don't participate. I never did. Remember, I used to get threatened that they was gonna take my L's. So, you know, I moved to Atlanta. Everything is going good, all up until I get this phone call saying that I needed to turn myself in. And because I had been charged with college hazing. And you know, I couldn't believe it. I was extremely shocked. None of my friends believed it. Everybody was extremely shocked, because I usually don't get into stuff like that. But when the system charged me, I knew that they charged me because I wasn't in school. And that's just plain and simple. I knew that they charged me because me not being in school would ultimately make the school that I was at look worse. It would make them look bad. And so, and especially because it's a HBCU. And so, you know, those just are my thoughts. I knew that going into it, meaning going into when they called me and told me that I was charged and that I needed to turn myself in. I was like, wow, okay. I couldn't believe it. So I moved to Atlanta, trying to get myself, at this point, trying to get myself together. My mother had a business, a cleaning service business, and I took over the management of that company. And listen, I was working. I was hustling. You know, I was hustling, I was working, I was paying my lawyers, I was doing a lot. And one day in my worship and in my reading, I was reading and I was worshiping one day, and I had an enlightenment dawn on me. And that enlightenment was, I'm fighting this case and I'm taking it to court, and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna fight it, because at this point I'm listening to my dad. Because now that they charged me, the law charged me, I'm like, oh nah, I need to listen to my dad. And so I started to take my dad's advice when I got into the conflict with the law. And this is while I'm living in Atlanta with my mom. And so, I'm taking my dad's advice because no one in my family, in my mother's family, had ever been through any type of legal anything. And so, this was the first for everybody. This is the first. I'm already a first generation college student, so this was just the first for anybody. And I knew I had to call on my dad because he knew the law. He knew what to do. And so, I called my dad, and my dad helped me through the process. And I was just like him. I was mad, and I was like, yeah, we're going to take it to court. We're going to fight it. Da, 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 da. No, this, that, and the third. We're going to take it to court because they shouldn't be doing this. And in my worship and in my spiritual, in my worship or my spiritual evolution, I thought, America, you need to humble yourself. One, you need to humble yourself to his parents. And, at the end of the day, you may not feel like because you didn't do anything that you're not a part of it and you shouldn't be charged. But at the end of the day, somebody lost their life. And that's the most important thing. And so I guess I say that to say that is the reason why I decided to take a plea deal. And I took the plea deal because I felt like I needed to humble myself to the family. Y'all see the sun coming out. Woo! Got a good old birthday tomorrow, Earth Day. Yeah, I'm excited, y'all. So, I felt as though I needed to humble myself to the parents. And so, again, anytime that I used to read and do my worship, sometimes it used to be outside. That's why y'all see me outside right now. Sometimes it used to be on the porch. Sometimes it used to be in my room. But that's why being outside is such a symbolic thing for me right now. Just looking up at the trees and just being in a space where I had an earth around me. I have something that's living around me. The leaves are living. And so in my spiritual evolution, man, I decided to take a plea deal. And because I was working with my dad, and because I was getting advice from my dad on how to deal with my case in the law system, in the system of law, he was able to show me how to. They offered me a deal off the rip, and he was like, well, they don't have nothing on you because they offering you a deal. They just trying to get you to plea out. And so you counter offer with them. And at first they was trying to give me house arrest and all kind of other stuff, y'all. I was like, oh no. I already know I can't be locked down like that. So I was like, no house arrest. I counter offered. They sent another counter offer. I sent another counter offer. They sent another counter offer. I sent another counter offer. And I had never been through that negotiation process within the court system before. And so just going through that experience and my dad knowing that experience, it allowed me to really put into action everything that he taught me, everything that I've read and learned on my own as an autodidactic, just everything. And so, I was able to see that the law system was doing its job in protecting this young man that had lost his life. And so at the end of the day, I knew that that's what the law system was doing. And that's why, again, I wanted to be humble and submit myself to his parents. And I had to submit myself to his parents. It was a part of my spiritual evolution in 2007, 2012, in 2012 or 2013, something like that. Yeah, so that's how the Atlanta lifestyle went. So as I was living in Atlanta, just to get that out the way, um, as I was living in Atlanta, man, I had experienced for the first time seasons. I don't think y'all understand. I'm from Miami, and I actually experienced seasons, seasons, y'all. A fall, a spring, a summer, and then a fall again. Like, I actually watch the seasons change. And see, for me, being from Miami, you don't see that. Everything stay the same all year. It's springtime, it's summertime, palm trees all year. Well, summertime and rainy season, you know what I'm saying? So going to Atlanta, moving to Atlanta after living in Tallahassee for 3 years, I was like, whoa, these are the seasons. Like, I'm actually watching the seasons. And so that was really amazing, man. That was really amazing for me. And that was a life-changing thing for me. And that's why I got to talk about it in day 6, because this is all a part of my transition, man. It's a part of my transition. I was able to see the earth change around me. And it let me see that, wait a minute, as constant as the sun and the moon is, the sun and the moon come up every day consistently. Every season, there's change. And so it made me think like, wow, you know, just within like the earth, there is change in our seasons. Like, no leaf grows on that tree the same exact way every single year. It literally grows every year. It dies and it grows every single year all over again. And so to me, that was amazing. That was like the most enlightening evolution I could have ever seen, because I actually watched it happen within the earth, within the environment. I actually watched it happen. And so, again, that was a part of my transition. And so I had this cleaning service, and I'm doing my thing with this cleaning service, and I got my clients, and I got my staff that I'm training, and we doing our thing with the cleaning service. I'm a people person, so I'm able to get clients, and I'm able to have consistent clients and all of that and things like that. And so I begin to move over to downtown Atlanta. I start to get into the downtown Atlanta area. And so I go to the downtown Atlanta area, and I start to, try and get more clients and just try and get businesses as clients. And I ran across a business that was opening up, and it was a chain restaurant. And I went across this chain restaurant, and I seen this chain restaurant. It was opening in downtown Atlanta. And so I went inside this chain restaurant. It's still construction going on and everything. And so, I'm used to, because I was working with a real estate office as well, with doing some clean outs for the houses that they had just purchased. And so I went into this restaurant trying to get another client. And I, offered the owner of the restaurant, a deal to, clean his restaurant after all the construction was finished. And so I did that, and he accepted it. And long story short, I cleaned out the restaurant. I got that client. I did that deal. And so much so to where I even had to help prep for the inspection that was coming up. So then, because I was such a good worker, the owner, he was like, hey man, I just want to have you on my team here at the staff, just to have somebody who could work like you. And so I was like, well, I done already kind of did the restaurant business. I have my own business, cleaning or whatever. But, I could see what I could do. I could maybe work part-time. But, I had never experienced the back of the house. So I was like, I don't want to work the front of the house. Being a people person, talking to people, being a server is easy for me. So let me just work the back of the house so that I could, I could learn more. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to be better. I wanted to learn what it was to be in the back of the house. So I was a dishwasher. And I became a dishwasher. And I became a part-time dishwasher, and I just started kind of working that. and learning the back of the house and learning the menu and helping with the prep and helping this and all of that and the saute cook and the chef and so I just started to learn all of those different all of those different I guess all of those different roles when it came to the back of the house in the restaurant business. And so I realized, and after about 3 or 4 months, I eventually moved up to a managerial position where now I knew how to do all of the positions in the restaurant, from the cook and up front to the cook in the back to the doing payroll, setting schedules, doing this, doing that. I literally moved up to the managerial position in about 3 or 4 months. And I think that has to do with my work ethic. I think that has a lot to do with, you know, I think that has a lot to do with the work ethic. I think it has a lot to do with the positivity. I think it has a lot to do with just a lot of other things that was going on. And I had adapted so well. Remember, I had adapted really well to what was going on and to the restaurant business. And it's not like it was my first time in the restaurant business, because my mom owned a restaurant when I was in high school. My mom and my stepdad. And so it wasn't really anything new as far as the restaurant business. But, you know, as I move on, working 16 hours a day at this restaurant, I was able to realize that this wasn't what I wanted to do. I didn't want to work in a restaurant. I didn't want to sweat over a stove. I didn't want to do it. I actually wanted to get back to what I was doing, which was mentoring and working with children and teaching music. And so I decided to move back to Miami from living in ATL for about 2 or 3 years, I think. Maybe stayed there about 2 or 3 years. And I decided to move to back to Miami. I had got a phone call. He said, "Sherry, I need you to come back to Miami. I need you to work with my percussion section. I need you to work with my percussion section. I'll pay you. Whatever I gotta do, I'll pay you." I was like, all right, I'll do it. And I got another phone call. It was an older lady from the nonprofit that I was working for since I was 15. And she says, hey America, I really need you. I need you to come back. I'll pay you $15 an hour. Come back to Miami. Come help me with my program. Come teach. Come manage. I said, all right, I'm there. And I think that with those things, me getting those 2 phone calls, it allowed me to literally just pick up and leave. Because I knew that I didn't want to work in the restaurant business no more. I was done with that. I was ready to go back to school. I was ready to enhance my life. So I was ready to actually go to school. You know, I was ready to actually teach again. You know, I wanted to teach music again, and I wanted to do those things again. You know, I wanted to feel like I was doing exactly what I was supposed to do. And in the restaurant business, paying lawyers and all of that, I didn't feel like that. I didn't feel like I was doing exactly what I was supposed to do. And so, you know, I wanted to work in my community, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to go back to Miami, to move back to Miami. So I moved back to Miami again. This is the transition periods, day 6, Confessions of a Child, self-reflection series. And so I moved to Miami for a fresh start, working with the band. I'm teaching the children, inspiring the children, teaching music. I got the after school program. I'm working at this school. I'm doing that school. I'm doing everything. I'm just working. I already knew a lot of people here in Miami, especially some professionals. I just knew a lot of people already. And people kind of already knew me and my track record for teaching and for being good with the kids. You know, I was always just really, really good with the kids. And so my transition to Miami actually was really smooth. So at this point, I'm on probation living in Miami, and I decided to get involved in some illegal activity. And so when I got involved in this illegal activity, I went back to my probation officer, and of course I got a drug test. And so with this drug test, I didn't know while on probation that you're not supposed to be involved in any illegal activities. And so going back to Miami with my transition, remember I moved from Atlanta to Miami, so I had to transfer my probation from Atlanta to Miami. And I went to take this drug test, and I failed. So they violated me. They violated my probation, and the next time that I went to go check in, they arrested me. And I was I was crying. I didn't know what to do. I was getting arrested for violating probation. I was like, oh gosh. Another mess up, you know, and I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. I'm teaching kids, y'all. And I done been violated for being on probation. And it made me feel so bad. I felt like I had let my kids down. I felt like I let them down. You know, so I go to the jail in Miami, and for the next 4 months, I was in jail, to put it in short. And you guys, the next 4 months, that transition part was probably, I want to say, was probably one of the hardest times in my life. Because one, I had never been in jail before. I'm the person that's afraid to steal out of Walmart. You know, I had never been in that situation before, where now I'm in jail. And so my experience was one that was quite unorthodox. I thought that, you know, the universe, the God is always with me, and I thought that it was amazing in my experience. And so the reason why I thought that my experience was amazing was because, one, after going to the Miami jail, you know, they had to transfer me to Orange County, because that's where the case was originally filed at. So after a month, I went into the courts. They like, oh yeah, we gotta reset it. So in them resetting it, it allowed me to wait another month for my next court date. So I was in my head. I was kind of going crazy. I was in jail. It was not good for me in my mental space. And so I'm in this jail, and I think one of the CEOs came by, and he say, I guess they came by because you're supposed to do like a health, like a TB test, supposed to take a TB test. I took this TB test, or he's walking me to take this TB test. It's a white guy, Caucasian guy. He looked over, older guy too. He looked over, he say, hey, you know, I've been working here for 30 years, and he said, I know criminals when I see one, and you're not no criminal, so why you in here? And I looked up at him, and I say, this is kind of just like my heart just kind of smiled, because, you know, he seen that I wasn't a criminal. And he was like, I said, college hazing. You know, I just thought that he was asking me what my charge was. So, you know, I said college hazing. And he looked at me, And he said, man, are you from such and such school? And I said, yeah. And he said, man, they shouldn't have did that to y'all, man. Man, they only did that to y'all because y'all was black. He was like, man, I had to go through hazing. Everybody I know went through hazing. This, that. Man, that's what college kids do. Listen, when I say he got upset, he just started snapping. This Caucasian CO who was walking me to take me to my TB test was mad because the system had charged us in this situation. And he was like, they only did that to y'all because y'all was black. They only did it because y'all was black. And they only did it because, that's a good school and everything else. And I thought, wow. And at first I thought I was the only one that thought that because that's what my dad was saying the whole time. And I was like, wow. And I was like, my dad was saying this. Here this Caucasian CEO that I don't know from a can of paint, he's saying this. And so it actually started to click in my head of what was happening with my particular case and the system and the law system. And then especially when I went and got all the research, and when I went and read all the research, and the research shows how this particular hazing, this act of hazing has been going on for years in every single facet of life. The military, the police department, the firefighter department, band, singing, education, this, that. It was happening in every single environment. The entertainment world, it was literally happening in every environment. And the research showed that. And so I was like, wow, this is not something that's new. This not something that's new. It's been around for a long time. And so it allowed me to put myself in a different mind frame, like, wow, you're really a part of something that's way bigger than you. Like more than just band. But now we're talking about a system that's being used to degrade or downgrade a group of people. And I realized that when we were charged. And when they charged us and didn't charge the Caucasian boys at the PWI, I said, yeah, it's the system. It's the people in the system. It's not necessarily the system itself, but it's the people in the system that uses their personal biases against other people, and they use the system to perpetuate those personal biases that they have. And I realized that, and I think that, when I realized that, I was able to I was now able to take the appropriate steps to fight the case or to fight something that's way bigger than me, which wasn't my case anymore. It was this system that was being used against me. And again, I knew it had nothing to do with my character. I knew that they didn't charge me off the basis of my character. They didn't charge me off the basis of anything, of even if it was the truth or not. People could have lied, and I'm only talking about me, but I'm pretty sure anybody a part of any case or a part of anything could say people could lie on those official documents, and it don't matter because it's about what you can actually prove in court. And so that's something that I actually had to learn while going through this system and while going through the process, in this jail process. So I'm leaving the TB test, and the guy, he comes back, and the CEO says, hey, I know that, everybody violate probation. I smoked a little marijuana when I was younger, and da 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 da, and it's okay. You know what? I'm gonna get you into this program. Sign up for this program, and you're gonna be put into another dorm, and it's gonna be like a therapy session. It's gonna be a group. It's like a group program, and it's for addicts, and it's for it's for addicts, and but it was a part of the jail, and so I signed up for this program, and I transferred over into this different division. And when I say, you guys, that was the most amazing experience, transferring into this addict program. One, I was one of the youngest ones. Actually, I was one of the youngest ones, because there was another young lady who was younger than me that had been there for more than 5 years for something else. I can't even remember what her charge was. But again, I was in this jail or I was in this particular group home with these people that were looking for help in terms of drugs and alcohol and different things like that. So because my major was psychology, I was already super excited about doing that, because it's kind of like right up my alley with what I want to do just in life and just in general. And so I thought, all right, wow, this is going to be a pretty nice experience. So the first day of being in this structured home, being in this structured part of the jail, which is like a particular group home, they have it set up. You wake up 7 a.m., you have morning meditation, you have group therapy, you have outside, you come back in, you have your like writing therapy, then you come back, you have different. So it's different types of therapeutic methods where we talk and we give each other we answer quotes. We do a lot of different things, man. And so I was able to experience that within this particular home. And come full circle, the director of the program that I was in inside the jail, they were best friends with my former band director. And it was a African American woman, black lady, older black woman, and she said, "Baby, I just had to come down here and meet you, because the women in the group home, the women who were already in this part of the facility already, they were talking about me to, I guess, the director of this particular facility." And so she said, "I just had to come meet you, because all my ladies was telling me that they want you to be a big sister. And they want you to be a big sister because of how you talk, and you're the leader, and you inspire them, and da 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 da." And I was thinking, wow, so this is the second month that I've been in jail, and they asking me to become a big sister. I've only been in this program for about 3 weeks. They're asking me to be a big sister. Like, they think that much of me to want me to become a big sister, to start to lead some of these facilitations and some of these groups and some of those days. And so you would have like full days where I would lead the meditation, I would lead the talks, I would lead the, all the components of what we did that day. And I thought that it was amazing, and that experience is something that I will cherish for the rest of my life. Day 6, y'all. This is day 6 of Confessions of a Child self-reflection series, and yeah, I think I'm gonna end it right there. But I guess I'll say that that experience, and you all can read my book. Again, none of these series or none of these videos in this series, it's full in detail. It's not full in detail at all. It's just broad, so that I could just express myself and get it out through video. And I want to be a help to someone else. My families and my life and the decisions that I made, I accept that they weren't always the best decisions. I accept that I didn't have the best life. I didn't have a perfect life. I didn't have a bad life, but I didn't have the best life. And I think that with understanding that, because everybody go through their own hurdles in life, and it allowed me, well, this self-reflection, well, this video self-reflection, because I've already self-reflected on this a whole lot. And so this video self-reflection is just a way that I could get it out, as well as my my literature self-reflection, where it's in more detail. You can have it in the palm of your hands, which will be for pre-order in the next 2 weeks. So you can actually pre-order that, because I probably won't drop my book until about another 2 months or so, my autobiography with everything that I'm talking about. So my self-reflection, or my 7-Day Atonement series, is the precursor to all the details of the book. So yeah, I think I'm gonna end it right here. I end up getting out of jail. My experience with the judge, that when I finally got to court after about 3 months, he said, well, he gave me an option. He gave me 2 options. He said, I either do the rest of the time in jail, I either do another year in jail and I'll have no probation, or I get out and I become a convicted felon, and I'll have to continue out my probation as a convicted felon. And when he said that, again, at that moment, I didn't care about the group home. I didn't care about anything like that. I just wanted to get out of jail. I wanted to be regular again. And so I decided to get out and become a convicted felon. And yeah. And the next 3 years, I completed my probation, but I was still a convicted felon. And so yes, that's day 6, y'all. Day 6, and I just want to end off with my prayer that I always say. I submit my being to the universe. I submit my being to the world. I submit my being to all of creation. I submit my being to Last Air Society. I submit my being to my community. I submit my being to my family. I submit my being to my students and all the children of the world. And I submit my being to my mind, my body, and my spirit. And I love y'all, man. Day 6 is getting easier. Day 7, tomorrow's my birthday. I'm super excited. See you.